Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for having us.
Yes.
Today we're going to cover a few of our teams. We'll see what we can get through, mainly because I'm away next week back to Hayman Island and we have a Bucks party Saturday, so who knows how Sunday will go.
Yeah, we had planned on doing this Sunday, but we're going to be very hungover. So
Yes.
we're trying to knock this out a little bit earlier.
Especially this guy. A few nose beers in and he starts hitting the terps pretty heavy, so...
My issue is that I don't drink very often, so when I do, it gets a little bit over the top.
Much like other areas in your life, hey Chris?
Hey, calm down there, right? Ease up, Sparky.
Ease up, Sparky. Okay, so you can follow us on all the socials.
You can.
Facebook.com/SC_insider.
You honestly continually get our socials wrong.
I know.
It's SC Insider. There's no underscore on the Facebook. Now, we
Facebook.
would hopefully plan eventually to get these all linked up, but unfortunately when we first started,
It's a mess.
like there was some things that were taken and other things that weren't. Anyway, so we're SC Insider on Facebook.
Well, I swear it was Supercoach Insider, and then it's changed to SC Insider, which is probably your doing, which is why I'm so messed up. Okay, so Twitter, we are Twitter at SC_Insider_. I do know that for a fact.
We are, yes.
And Chris, Twitch?
Twitch at SC_Insider. On SoundCloud, it's Supercoach Insider, and on YouTube as Supercoach Insider.
And today's sponsored by Coke, no sugar, because we like Coke and we also like to watch our waistlines.
That's true. And look, we thought we'd kick today off with a great little segment on Port Adelaide. And what better way to do it than playing the highlights of the two best games of the year for the Power, which was obviously the two derbies.
Oh, best year for derby.
So we're just going to watch obviously these YouTube clips. Last 2 minutes of those games were absolutely amazing. Look, I think that we'll start with a bit of a team overview with Port, and it's really a year of what could have been.
No worries. Is that audio playing as well, Chris? Or are we
Yeah,
muting the background?
we're good. Yes, of course, the audio. Sorry, I just quickly put this on. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry about this.
Well, I'm sure everyone would like to hear our voice first.
Yeah, that's true. There we go. So look, a year of what could have been for the Power. Essentially, it was a case of which Port would turn up at any given time. They were in a position to play finals, ending the season only 1 game percentage out of the 8, but they lost the last 4 games in a row.
Yeah, they were a shoo-in to be in the 8.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Including games against Adelaide, West Coast by under a kick. So
Yes.
they could have
After the
played finals.
siren by West Coast.
Adelaide probably claim a couple of those as well. Anyway, so the top end seems to be competitive enough because they beat the Tigers and Sydney and Melbourne, whilst coming within a kick of Hawthorn and GW and the West Coast. So I think that their list is good enough to be competitive and to be top 8 worthy, but they just invariably don't turn up one day. So
Well, yeah, and realistically, an angry Koshi, I mean, you wouldn't be that afraid of that guy, would you?
nah, definitely not.
But Ken Hinkley, his job will be definitely under pressure this year,
It will
more than
be.
it has been in a while.
Much so.
Expectations are there, I think, for 2019.
Definitely. Now, they definitely could return to the finals in 2019 with some luck with injuries and a good draw, which they are kind of helped out with. So they have the 10th hardest draw. Their double-up games are against Richmond, of course, Adelaide, which obviously,
Derby,
so anything can happen there, North, Brisbane and Freo. So I think of those, if they were to say, hey, we're the better team right now, they should be targeting at winning those North, Brisbane and Freo games and taking one out of Richmond and Adelaide, and that'll pretty much cement them in finals, in my opinion. So they really have to beat the teams around them, which is why the North games become really important, because I think North are probably around about that same approaching top 8, and they have been for a few years. They've just gone out and recruited a whole bunch of guys.
I think they'll be damaging too with bringing in Lysette, who and Paddy Ryder sort of pinch hitting and switching between them. I'm not sure how they're going to line up just yet, but I think if you have them plus with a fit Charlie Dixon planted in the goal square, and then they have a lot of small, like Boak playing half forward. You have. Motlop. But, you have...
I haven't even put Motlop in
No,
this.
I know, right?
Just so you know.
No, but you get Sampel Pepper, you get a few of these other, small sort of agile guys in that forward line. I think they could actually do well, and they are known to be good scorers when they get going. So
completely agree with you. I think that they definitely could be there. It's just a matter of whether or not they are going to be. I can't make the prediction at this stage. Look, they do have 3 6-day breaks and no 5-day breaks, which is a league low.
I'm wondering what they're going to do in defence. You get rid of Homsch.
Yep.
You get rid of Pittard.
They've got a lot of halfback flankers though. They've got a lot of those sort of medium, tall sizes.
But then who's tall?
And they do have a couple of tools, and they've got developing tools as well. It'll probably be a couple of rookies that will take up. They'll start playing more aggressive.
They'll want to play a shootout style. I'll tell you that because they're going to leak like a sieve.
The way that they've drafted as well doesn't lead towards we need tools, but I think that they need a couple more. So yeah, we'll go towards that as well. I think we'll just put the other one on. So I'd say that Port midfield is a one to avoid. Given in the SC finals, they actually play the Giants, Bombers, and then Sydney and North. Yep. So they've got the two tags, of course, Sydney with the Hewitt tag and North with the Jacobs tag in the finals. We'll get rid of this. This is annoying. That's one thing about... we should have definitely logged into the other account, but that's all good. Let's play the other 2 minutes as well. Give these guys something. Yeah, it's okay. I don't know why YouTube, for whatever reason, has changed the way that it works, and it's really frustrating. Anyway, we're all good to go. And they have a mixed start with Melbourne, Carlton, and Brisbane, and then Richmond and West Coast in their first 5. So they've got a couple of easy beat teams, but also then I put Brisbane in that.
Yeah, I did see what you did there. I don't think there is such a thing as an easy beat.
No, there definitely isn't in the AFL.
Gold Coast is the only easy beat as far as I'm concerned.
There definitely isn't an easy beat in the AFL anymore. Definitely not.
Except for Gold Coast.
Well, yeah, apart from that.
Yeah.
And maybe Carlton. And maybe Brisbane. So look, a bit of a mixed start. I can't read anything into their start. Their end is tough, so I'm not sure if you want to actually trade to them. However, they do have the round 12 bye because they play in round 11 in China. They come back and they've got their bye. And that's shared with Bombers, Freo, Hawks, Saints, and Dogs, which is a good upgrade round.
I think it's good that finally, at least, they have a bye structure that matches everyone else's buys, at least, instead of being like, they have a round 8 bye or a round 9 bye and trying to kind of go with it there. Yep. At least now they at least sync up. So
it makes it easier for Supercoach.
If you do want a Port player, it's awesome. If you, even with drafts and stuff, it makes things so much easier because now it all matches up. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. So in terms of their off-season trades, they obviously got in Lysette and Burton and Mays. And then they got lost, of course, Pollack, Pittard, Homsch, and Wingard. So big outs there. So I think that Burton is someone that can play a key position role. So that could be someone that they look towards.
So I just love this. Adelaide gets so excited. They're now up by 1 point with 40 seconds to go. This is where McGovern's about to break his face. Where he charges back and gets absolutely cleaned up. And Motlop pretty much paid his paycheck just in this one moment that's coming up. What a great... These blockbusters, so good. If only Brisbane and Gold Coast had these kind of rivalries, which they might at one day when they, get
or
up
the GWS and Gold Coast that they're still trying to plug. Good on
Sydney and GWS have had some really good games.
Yeah, right.
But, they get really excited and they're about to lose.
We all know the outcome of this. Should we skip at this point? No, we're all good. Anyway, so I think that Burton is someone that can play key defender. That he can also play in the midfield or as a rebounding defender. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually play him. I think with the loss of Homsch, it lends to him playing more of a key defender as opposed to a rebounding or someone in midfield. They did also have Mays as well, who is a rebounding defender that they got into that as well.
Here we go. McGovern, ready? Crack! Here comes Motlop. Little shimmy, bang. I can't believe that. He did nothing all year. Good on him.
Good on him. All right, we'll get over here. Thanks for that, guys. That was just a little bit of something for the Port Adelaide fans and the Adelaide fans out
and
there.
The Twitch people as
well. So let's go through their rookies. Unfortunately, their rookies, they really drafted some very light-on rookies that do need to put on some size and some guys that are probably not going to impact really early. I'll be surprised if a lot of them, except for one, maybe gets early runs. So they picked 5. They picked Connor Rosey. He played in the South Adelaide Premiership win at Sandford level, which cemented Port's choice as a high pick. He is slight, but has played against senior bodies, of course. So that shouldn't really concern him. Super athletic guy coming in the 20-meter sprint test at the Combine in the top 10. He came in second in the 20-meter sprint test at the Combine and top 10 in the vertical jump and running jump test. So big leap for a guy that's 185 centimeters and 74 kilos, and super quick as well. Strong hands and wants to play midfield. So every interview that I've seen with him says that he wants to play midfield and he wants to play eventually inside midfield as well. Wants to learn off Ollie Wines is what he's been quoted as saying.
Well, hopefully he doesn't learn how to kick off Ollie Wines.
That's true. He's already got that down to pat. He does have silky skills and he's got a good kick on him.
They could use someone then.
But he has said that he's probably likely to be playing forward, especially early, and he wants to try and learn under Robbie Gray. That's one of his idols. He actually owns a Robbie Gray jersey, which is pretty cool. So he actually...
apparently Robbie Gray's been looking for that jersey for years.
Yeah. So he's someone that I think that might come in and, say, play a forward role. If he comes in and plays early, he's playing forward. He's just not big enough for midfield, unfortunately. And the likelihood is that I think he probably takes Robbie Gray's role, and Robbie Gray moves to midfield and plays the Chad Wingard role that was taken over from him during the year.
Hallelujah.
So we'll get into a little bit more of that, but I think that if he plays early, that's where he plays. However, the person I think most likely to replace that spot in the forward line is Zach Butters. So that was their pick 12. Has been likened to Hayden Ballantyne, the way he's very chirpy and loves to get in people's heads, and he really sees the value in that mental side of the game. He again wants to be an inside mid. I think that everyone does, but we'll see how that all pans out for them eventually.
Well, everyone wants to be an inside mid until you get into the top elites.
Stones just said no warning midweek. Yeah, that's true, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Well, I gave you a warning last night, Stonesy, and then what did you do? You ripped on me. So.
The reason is for the record at this stage of the day, of course, is purely just because
we need to get it out to upload it before I go away for a week.
We're both going away.
And I'm sure you don't want to wait until, Tuesday or the following Sunday. So I could be away for 9 days. I don't know.
Just as a bit of a warning too, I'll be going away for 3 weeks. So leaving everything in this old man's capable hands.
That's right.
So we'll see how we go. But thanks for that, Stonesy. They said all good. In the next pod, we're going to actually... breaking news today was part of the Defenders chat. So in the next pod, we're going to break that down a little bit before we get into that. But we just wanted to get into this quickly and knock out Port Adelaide as quickly as we could. So Butters as well. So averaged 20 disposals in the TAC Cup and was slightly underwhelming in the National Championships, averaging 13.5 disposals. However, these figures are skewed as he was injured throughout the series and played anyway.
Interesting.
181 centimetres and 70 kilos. So I do see him as someone that will play forward and play forward potentially early with that style of football that he is. And they definitely have targeted that small forward or those light small forwards as something that they've noticed in their list build.
Well, I think with Wingard leaving as well as Polak, I think Robbie Gray probably has to spend a bit more time in the midfield. Either that or Boak, if Boak's fit enough. But I think Boak's
there's also
probably a bit
the chance
older.
that Boak comes in there.
Possibly, but
we'll see how it goes.
I'm keen to see how it goes.
I think again, and we said this last year, your best midfielder is Robbie Gray. He's also your best forward, but get him in there, and if you can replace his goals,
more tools in there,
and you got more tools, and we'll get towards their list structure a little bit after we get through the rookies.
You're not going to give us another not relevant person down
the front. No, I'm going to try and breeze through the back end. All right. So, but one very important rookie that we need to take aware of is pick 18, Xavier Dersma, labelled as the most complete midfielder from Victoria outside of Sam Walsh and Bailey Smith. He's a bit light of frame at 71 kilos, so definitely does need to hit the gym, but he's 185 centimetres.
Well, he's better than the other guy. What was he, 58?
65.
65. Oh, jeez. Blew over in a light breeze.
Thanks, Carlito. He told Stonesy it was a bit harsh. Thanks, mate. You're good. So he averaged 22.8 disposals, 5.2 tackles, and a goal a game with 4.4 marks, and 49% of his disposals are contested.
Nice.
So an absolute beast for Supercoach. I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting a look at Xavier Dersma in the JLT. He's 185 centimeters, 71 kilos. Played in Vic Country. Unfortunately, he was less impressive at the championships, but Vic Country pretty much got spanked. So none of their players really performed well, and he only averaged 14.3 disposals in the national champs. So,
ouch.
Hopefully he can hit that back. Pick 73, so they really went back to Riley Grundy. He's just really, he's not SC relevant at all. He's actually a project player, but he does have a basketball background.
And he has a famous brother.
Brother of Brodie Grundy. The big thing on Riley Grundy is, of course, he's pretty raw. So he did actually play basketball right up until his last 2 years, where he completely switched over to AFL. For that reason, he plays key position defender. He's not an accumulator. He's literally a stopper. And that's how he's got to improve his game, is start accumulating more of the ball and using his foot skills. But he's 194 centimetres and 84 kilos. So they have got someone in at that key defender spot that they want to develop.
Fair enough.
So that's what they want to do there. Boyd Woodcock is at pick 76. Not really relevant. Small forward again. Low pressure stats. Someone who can hit the scoreboard. 175 centimetres and 71
I'm not going to go on about people that aren't relevant.
Just breezing through it.
That's fine.
Moving on to the rookie draft.
Let's just read out their whole list.
Yeah, right. Pick 9 in the rookie draft, Tobin Cox. Seen as a forward mid who can rack up the ball but lacks pace. Unlikely to see senior action.
Wonderful. You can talk about him next year.
I can. And then there's a couple of others in the Category B rookie list. Kai Pudney and Martin Frederick, both of which are project players and unlikely to feature unless something happens. So I just wanted to mention them. If you're looking down the list, you can skip those guys, okay? Are you right? You okay?
I like how I did actually make you not talk about their stats or their body type anymore.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
I think he's blushing, everybody.
I'm blushing. I'm going red.
Well, I'll put the heat on you.
Can we move to premiums, please?
Yes, I am happy to talk about premiums. Do they have any?
All right, yes, they do. Well, the first one, again, I don't think is a premium, but he is premium numbers, and he had a great year this year, and that's Justin Westhoff.
Yes.
Had an amazing year, ruck forward this year, 549k, averaged 101.2. One of the most consistent years we've seen from him, and he really is a forward because even though he was forward ruck last year, he played a lot of minutes forward, came in for a bit of ruck, then went behind the ball, played a bit on the wing, played a little bit all over the park.
Yes.
What I see with him this year, though, unfortunately, is more of a stay-at-home forward role. So
I disagree a little bit more. I think
could still go on the wing and behind the ball at times.
I think he'll change all the time. I think he'll go behind the ball. He'll push up to the forward. He'll play on the midfield. I don't think he'll do any ruck anymore.
Yep.
Because they don't need him
the
anymore.
The other consideration is maybe they leave Westhoff behind the ball as a key position defender this year.
Possibly. Actually,
and
that's
then
a good idea.
they have Burton as the rebounding defender.
That would be disastrous for Westhoff's Supercoach scores. But
here's what's thinking.
It makes sense, though.
So you could get Burton into midfield because he may want to play midfield. Robbie Gray stays forward. Westhoff goes back. There is a few combinations they could try, so no one really knows how they're going to turn out.
No.
But I'm excited to see what it is. One thing's for sure, though, with the uncertainty of his role, I don't think I can pick Westhoff at now age 32, coming off his best ever Supercoach season.
Yeah, where he did get a lot of hit outs and stuff. I don't know. For me, I'm just avoiding. I don't know. I just have a bad gut feeling. I think he is the Goddard of 2019.
Could be. Could fall off a cliff.
Well, we did say that Goddard was going to drop, but
he's definitely not getting that ruck time, which he obviously did score some points from this year.
I'd rather, if he's killing it, I'd rather bring him in. I'm not starting with him at that price. I think he'll drop. I think there are better options. I don't know why. I had the same feeling with Jacobs last year. I just didn't like Jacobs, and I like Westhoff, just not for this year.
In Westhoff's defense, he's missed 6 games in 9 years, and
that's too many.
0 in 5 years. He hasn't missed a game in 5 years.
Okay, fair call.
So,
he'll get you an 80 odd, but in previous years, probably not so much this year, just gone, but he has runs of games where he will continue to dominate, or he'll just go on a patch where he averages like 65 to 70 like for a month, and you're like, what's going on with Westhoff?
This year
and then,
though,
he goes.
He had a lot of 80s, so that's what really improved his average.
Yeah.
So even though he'd have a 140 once in every 15 games, he'd then have 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 120.
100, yeah.
You know, but that actually pushed his average up. So instead of those 60s that he was getting, he's now getting 80s. Now, does that drop down to those 60s again because he's not playing the ruck? And I think that does. I think more of a person who's probably going to go down 5 to 10 points per game rather than go up. For that reason, he's not a value pick because at best, you're hoping to match what he did.
I think at best, he's looking at like a 89, 90.
Yeah. The only consideration is if you are going with the ruck forward swing type, then you can consider that. So if you are looking for a ruck forward to play in your forward line that you can switch into the ruckman as cover, he's still the best. I think he's the best by a long way, but who knows? I don't know how that's going to pan out. So because of those question marks, I'm just saying no.
Yep, I agree. I'd wait and see for me.
Yep. Ollie Wines, next premium. So entering his 7th season, I see no reason why he's going to actually have a breakout. I think he's reached his cap.
He's had a few good periods.
Yeah,
before
he goes big for 5 games, right?
Yeah, 5 games, you'll be averaging 120, and everyone's like, this is it. Finally, Ollie Wines, the master. And then next minute,
everyone
just goes
jumps
bang,
on.
bang, or does his
It's
calf
right
or
around
something.
upgrade season every year. So then people go, oh, he's hitting his straps. He's got a 3-game average of 125.
So he could have been the Crips of like yesteryear.
Yeah,
he just didn't.
It's his foot skills. He hasn't learned to actually just handball the ball like Cripps has yet. Anyway, the good news for draft is he's reliable. He's only been injured once. So in his career, he's played every season, every game, except for one season where he got out for, I think, 10 games.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
Yeah. Has played every game every other season. Only had 8 tons this year, but all were over 113 with 3 140 plus. So when he goes big, he goes big.
I do like Ollie, though.
Yeah. Great draft guy, but I just don't think... He's averaged 97. Is he going to go 105 plus?
No.
Never going to go there. Not in my
I'd
opinion.
rather bank on a Caniglio. At least he hits the scoreboard.
Or a value option that
Oh,
I can't see it. There's no reason for him to actually increase unless Port just win 20 games this year, which I don't see that either. So see how we go. Next one, Paddy Ryder, obviously ruckman. He's lost his dual position ruck status.
And he burnt me hard. Well, he wasn't forward ruck last year.
Wasn't he?
No, he was ruck only. Because I picked him up being the top 5 ruck, remember? And he was like
Yeah,
high on
I
my
remember.
list.
I enjoyed the downfall.
Yeah, he burnt me big time. And not only that, but now they've brought in another ruckman, which means that is he playing more forward this year or what?
They've brought him in for 2 reasons. First and foremost, this is the 6th year in a row where Ryder hasn't completed the full season. So they really, really lacked dominance in their midfield. As soon as Ryder's gone, their midfield goes to buggery.
Yes.
And it's just, so literally that's why they went and got and Lysette, because at worst case scenario, Ryder goes down, they've already got Lysette there. He's also proven that he can be a value addition on field, even as a forward. So, and there's that second
and Ryder's probably a better forward than Lysette, but
which is good. So their combination, I think, works really quite well. I would be interested to see, do they play Ryder more forward and get his impact that way and get Lysette more in the ruck, or do they play, Ryder as the number 1 ruck with Lysette supporting? I think that is a question.
I don't know, Chris. I think we have to wait and see for that one.
We are definitely going to have to wait and see. Draft option, he only averaged 90 this year.
I think he has value in draft, though.
He does, but again, what's that percentage like, and how does that impact his scoring?
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Now, Robbie Gray, I think he's probably the only one that I really have confidence in picking, but it's still a question mark over where he plays. Now, regardless, I'll go through some awesome stats. He played 21 games this year, making him fairly reliable. In 5 years, he's only missed 5 games, so he actually, on average, misses 1 game a season. But there was a season where he played 19 and one where he actually played the full 22. So, averages plays 21 games a year. Averaged 108 playing through the midfield until round 12. He had a true average. So after that, he played mainly forward, and he had a true average of 92.9 because he did get knocked out on one of those games. I think it was on 17 or something stupid. So knocked out on 37 early in the second quarter. So he had a true average of 92.9 playing mainly as a forward. So even if he does play forward, he's still going to be value. I mean, it's not top 10, top 6 material, but it's still top 10. So I can't see him really going down from that. His true average for the year, if you take out that 37, is 99.8. So even if you take that as a consideration, he's still a top premium, top 6 forward on this year's numbers alone. With Chad Wingard going, I think he's pretty much a lock, and he's one of the only forwards at that price range that holds value. So what I mean by that is he could go up 5 to 10 points per game.
Yep.
And there's a reason for it. Heaney is the only other one that I'm looking at who could go 5 to 10 points per game out, but you're still banking on natural progression there.
Correct.
So there's a lot of forwards around that mark that around that 100 average, but there's no one really I can see with breakout potential to go 105 or 110.
Yeah, correct. Whereas you look at Franklin, who I think it's his best return in a while, he's kind of maxed out at this point.
Yeah.
So you're banking on him trying to hold value instead of dropping back down.
Yeah.
I think Robbie Gray, definitely has a potential.
It's just the reason
and the role. We need to really watch him.
Exactly right. Got to watch him in the JLT, but at the moment he's in my team, and I'm going to be keeping by him for the foreseeable future. So we'll see how that goes. Onto the mid prices. So Brad Ebert, 471k, mid pricer, average 86. So that's his actual worst return in quite a while, unfortunately.
Yes.
So pops up every now and then from a good score, which makes him a viable, say, M7 in draft. Missed 2 games in 9 seasons. So again, someone you want. He's not going to destroy your season. He's not going to win you the season.
If anything, he actually has a bit more value in draft this year.
He does.
Because I don't think he's going to get much worse than an 80, like a mid-80 average.
He's still only 29.
Yeah.
So his average over 94.5 over 94 5 of the last 7 seasons.
Not only that,
so
I think
good draft option.
Well, with Wingard and Pollitt going out, maybe he plays a little bit more outside.
Yep.
So he's quick, he gets the contest, so maybe instead of paying someone else attention, they might let one of these other younger guys start to play a bit more attention. Then they're like, look, you can run, you're good on the outside, he's pretty good with disposals, so they'll be like, go get it.
I think that there's definitely a reason to pick him in draft. Definitely not in standard, but definitely in draft. Charlie Dixon is also someone I think could be really value in drafts. 425k forward. He averaged 78 this year, but 10 scores under 62 in an injury-hampered year. Really sucks for him. He's actually going to be changing up his role. So last year he was playing, because obviously Ryder was injured quite a lot, he was playing as the number 1 ruck at points or as the second ruckman. He's now confirmed to be a stay-at-home full forward, which I think helps his average and helps his injury profile because he's not going to get injured as much.
Yes. I don't know if it helps his average as much, though. So he only averaged 78 trying to ruck and stuff as well.
Yeah, well, he's never really been a high scorer as a ruckman. He's always been better when he's been, that sort of Josh Jenkins role at the back or
more than 20 points below Franklin there, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly how much that is. Thank you very much. I definitely see him as someone who could maybe average an extra 5 to 10 points per game this year. Which means that he's a good draft option, not a standard option, but a good draft option, of course. Breakout candidate, number 1 is a mid-pricer. I think Dan Houston has the potential. Average 77 this year, is 420k defender. Again, I wouldn't choose him in standard just because around that price there's better options. But he would need to improve his top end. He only had 2 tons with a high of 103, but that means consistency in my opinion. So he's the go-to kick taker along with Riley Bonner. And that's really important considering the rule changes in SC. And we will go through them heavily coming up in the next pod. But as the main kick taker in that, he should have at least a 5 points per game upswing in his numbers, which would make him about 82, which again gives him a little bit of value. So for draft, you can pick him up fairly late, maybe as a D4, D5, depending on how deep your league is, of course. He's got a fairly consistent scoring profile, so I do think that is one that could happen. He's also in his 3rd year, so he could just all of a sudden, especially with the options down back and how they're going to line up, he could be one that goes from 77 to say a 90 all of a sudden. And that's generally because that's only because that's the profile of high scoring defenders that they go, 65, 77, and then bang, they go up to 90 or plus, like a Rory Laird and how his scoring progression was. So could happen. So keep an eye on him. Hamish Hartlett, 349k defender, injured since round 5 and averaged 80. Again, draft option.
Possibly. When's he back though?
So he's back shortly. I think he starts running soon. He hasn't started running just yet.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good for me.
Again, and draft option.
Yeah, he was already old option. And getting out of
favour. He's not that old.
I know he's not that old, but he's out of favour though. But old as in his body just keeps breaking.
The issue for him is they've got a lot of people that play his position now. So where does he fit into the team? I think in their best 22 at his peak, he is in there.
Oh, yeah.
Just his kicking is just really
But he
valuable.
had that awesome year, signed a big contract with the extension, and then kind of just took his foot off.
As you do. Yeah. They call it the Jared Witz. How he got a 5-year contract in Gold Coast.
I don't know. And one of the problems with their salary cap, it's like you're bottom of the ladder and you're going over your salary cap. My God.
It's a fantastic day when Jared Witz gets a 5-year contract.
Mate, Collingwood sit there scratching the head going... He got what?
I think that they made the right choice between him and Grundy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then now Cox is sitting there going, 5-year extension. Yeah. Jesus.
Scott Lycett, 441k ruck forward. So the problem is, of course, he's probably the second best ruck forward option. And they play in the same team. So, at the bye time when you want to try and replace him, it kind of makes it redundant. So I don't think you can probably play him and a... Westhoff, the only thing, of course, benefiting is if Westhoff or Lycett goes down, then the other one should take up those points or some of those points that go with it. That's the only reason why you would have both. I don't think, unless he's playing as the number 1 ruck, I don't think he's actually going to average more. I think 81's pretty standard
or
for
even
him.
86, 87, maybe at a push. But West Coast were doing pretty well anyway when he was playing. So
exactly right.
I think you're looking at like 88. I think when he was with West Coast doing well.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see. We shall see. Tom Jonas actually had for a little while in draft, so he was quite good for me there, Chris.
Yep. He was.
Average 86.
Average 86, 471k defender. Really consistent start of the year. He averaged 93.7 through the first nine games until the bye. And then had an injury and just never really came back and into form again. So I'm not sure if that's just being out of the game and the injury really affected him and he was hampered for the rest of the year, or if it's just... he's that sort of player that will float in and float out of a decent score.
Yeah.
It's too hard to tell that, in my opinion. But again, someone who has draft value. I just think it depends on really what happens with Burton and Mays and how they're played in the defense. If they're played in defense, how that impacts all the other guys' scoring patterns. So we really need to see the JLT to see these roles of these defenders. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they line up. And then, of course, Travis Boak, last one on the list there, is a mid-pricer, 478k forward now, so he's actually dropped off his... he's not mid-forward anymore, he's only available as a forward.
Yep.
And unless he gets mid-rotations, I can't see him increasing. However, 88 average as a forward is pretty good for a draft value.
Oh yeah, I don't think he'll go down in draft value. He's really consistent as well. So you could do a lot worse than having a Boak in your side.
Playing forward only had 5 tons, which is
gone are the days where he's averaging like 105. So yeah, at one point he used to be looking to be an awesome option in the midfield, and then he just kind of plays his role, really.
Yeah, and look, I really like Travis Boak. I think he's a great player. I mean, he's obviously getting on in age, but he's still got a valuable role. I think he's also one that, if there's an injury in midfield, he can plug a hole there. So
plug a hole.
If you're picking him as a forward in draft and then they get an injury in midfield and then Boak goes into that midfield, I think that's something they could look at.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes and how it works out. In terms of draft specials, I've just got Dixon and Houston as the ones that I would be keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
Just because I think there's value there. One to watch is, of course, Ryan Burton, because he only averaged 65, but he's known to obviously average more. So the previous two years prior, he averaged 83 from his minimal games at Hawks, but he was playing as a rebound defender. The following year, he averaged a lot less, playing as a lockdown role at Hawthorn. This year, so that was a 65. Depending on what he actually comes out and does, will depend on whether or not you can pick him, but there could definitely be a viable option there, especially late in draft, if he's a rebounding defender.
Yep.
So I think someone you can pick up on your bench even.
Yeah, Burton's worth a look in, I think.
So
and he could also have a point to prove this year. So
yeah, and with us, with our draft is held actually the night after the JLT starts, so we're probably not going to get a look into these players. So if you're in the same position where you don't actually get to see the JLT before your draft, then I think he's someone you can take a risk on a bench and see what happens.
I agree.
So one to avoid, Tommy Rockcliffe.
Yeah, your boy.
I think I'm finally off the train after years and years of just teasing me with his
burn
goodness.
Man with potential. And he had more shoulder surgery again, I believe. So every year, just
when he came back,
this time,
he played in midfield. He plays a tagger, and then when he went forward and then didn't kick goals. I don't know if he's in the best 22 anymore.
I'd put him on I'd pick him late in draft.
Is he in the best 22?
Yeah, he is. If when fit, I'd pick him late in draft based on the upside. I reckon he has to be providing some value. So
Nolan Richardson just said, I just Googled this all and now I'm interested. Oh, Twitch. You're interested in Twitch. Welcome, Nolan.
Yes.
So this is what Twitch is. This is a feedback forum, so we can have a chat. We can get into things. Very, very cool. And welcome to the...
It's also nice hearing your name back too, so...
Yeah. Who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't love that? Say my name.
Say my name.
All right, well, that leaves us for all of that.
One to avoid, mate.
Motlop. Oh,
Stevie Motlop.
It's Motlop.
Do not get him. If you're in draft and he's the last pick, you might want him. He can pop up for the odd ton, but he also turns around the next week and gets you a 35. So
yeah, it happens.
I just don't do it. Don't be tempted by the Motlop.
18 man though, yeah, 18-man league.
Yeah, you can go sure. You can go real late.
12-man league, probably not.
Just don't.
So just don't.
Leave him to the waiver. Leave him to the waiver gods.
Well, that's it for Port Adelaide. Next we'll do Richmond, which is going to be full of lots of possibilities with Richmond this year.
I like it.
And possibly no one in your standard side.
Yeah, true
so
that.
We'll see. And stay tuned. We'll be with you shortly with that one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.